Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure for me to talk on behalf of our research team from the Faculty of Education, University of Hradec Kralove, Czech Republic. Our focus topic is second foreign language learning strategies from the perspective of upper secondary education pupils. The survey is methodologically grounded in analysis, correlation analysis, and questionnaire. The empirical findings are based in the strategy inventory for language learning adopted to Czech environment by Vrabcová, and what is identified is specific strategies used for learning a foreign language. Additionally, with the purpose to measure respondents' attitudes, cross-key questionnaire, effective learning and teacher evaluation was adopted and used. As to foreign language learning strategies, we select three subtypes of direct learning strategies, and it's memory-related, cognitive, and compensation types of direct learning strategies. Within the paper and survey, we investigate 5 key research questions. Within my talk, I will highlight selected empirical findings related to these research questions, and we will do it continually. The data were collected by means of questionnaires directly in Russian language classes in February 2023. The respondents represent upper secondary education pupils. Out of 35 secondary schools that were addressed in 2 regions of the Czech Republic, Kralove, Hradecký and Pardubický regions, and offered participation in the survey. 8 schools have taken participation in the survey. 4 secondary vocational schools, reflecting the typology of the Czech vocational schools, which means that there were schools in the field of business and economy, administration, as well as language training, health care, and industry. 3 participating schools represent the general education type of secondary schools, grammar schools. This slide and a few upcoming comments on the sample structure. This one focuses the structure as to gender, and it's evident that majority of the sample is represented by girls, 67%. As to the age, the sample is represented by pupils aged 15 to 20 years of age, and it's evident that majority of the sample is represented by those aged 16, 17 and 15 years of age. The characteristics of the sample according to the school grades is illustrated by this slide and table. It shows the distribution of the respondents according to the individual grade years out of 4-year upper secondary education. We can see that first year grade students were represented by 47% within the sample. The distribution of the sample according to school types within the sample is illustrated by this table. We can see that the sample is represented by grammar schools, secondary school with maturita, with this upper secondary education school leaving examination, and also secondary vocational practical training school with maturita exam. This slide illustrates the sample structure according to how long the pupils within the sample learn Russian language as a second foreign language. The average length of learning Russian language in the sample is 5 years. With respect to one of the research questions related to comparing if there is a relation between pupils' awareness of foreign language learning strategies and the usage of specific foreign language learning strategies, we also asked the pupils about foreign language learning strategies to monitor their awareness of this topic. This slide shows the distribution of the levels of awareness within the sample structure. Let's focus on the issue: how do Czech pupils learn Russian as a second foreign language? What foreign language learning strategies do they employ? Within the 3 subtypes of foreign language learning strategies, secondary education pupils employ the direct learning strategies on the average level, with the average value 2.82 on the 1 to 5 Likert scale. Compensation strategies employ often or sometimes, with the average value 3.49. And memory-related strategies usually don't employ, and it's indicated by the frequency average value 2.34. What memory-related strategies are employed least? Here we will focus on the percentage of those who rarely or never use selected memory-related strategies. And this table shows that 96% of the pupils within the sample rarely or never use semantic mapping, and 90% rarely or never use physical response or sensation, and also quite high percentage, 79% of the sample rarely or never use mechanical techniques. What cognitive strategies are employed least of all? Using similar pattern, let's highlight that 84% of the sample rarely or never practice naturalistically, and 77% of the sample use summarizing learning strategy. On the other hand, quite high percentage, 63% of the sample always or usually use translating. Let's focus on compensation strategies, and let's focus on the question: what compensation strategies are employed most? From this table, we can see that quite high percentage of the sample, 71%, use the compensation strategy getting help, and 68% of the sample prefer to select a topic or prefer to adjust or approximate the message. Almost half of the sample, 45%, prefer the compensation strategy avoiding communication partially or totally. Focusing on the influence of gender on the use of direct strategies, let's focus on this table, which shows deeper insight. The statistical dependence between the two variables, gender and monitored direct strategies, is detected using Spearman's correlation coefficient. The frequency average values show that girls use direct strategies generally more than boys. It's visible from the average values in case of boys 2.71 and in case of girls 2.87. As to memory-related cognitive and compensation types of direct strategies, both boys and girls admit resorting to compensation strategies most often, while memory-related strategies are the least common from their view. How about the influence of in-class informing pupils on the use of direct strategies? Does the use of direct strategies vary depending on students' awareness of learning strategies? Do informed students use strategies more than the uninformed students? Spearman's correlation coefficient is used to determine the statistical dependence as in the previous case. The pooled results for all groups of direct strategies show that being informed about learning strategies by the teacher has a positive effect on the usage of the strategies. Cognitive strategies and memory-related strategies show the strongest correlation, comparing to no statistical significance in case of compensation strategies. Due to the negative correlation, it is possible to articulate to the thesis: the less the teacher informs his or her pupils about the procedures and methods how to learn Russian language, the more the pupils resort to compensation strategies. Consequently, it is possible to state that the teacher's recommendations on ways of learning a foreign language have a positive effect on the use of memory and cognitive strategies. In other words, higher frequency of teaching the pupils about the procedures and methods of Russian language acquisition might lead to high usage of the given foreign language learning strategies and better remembering the learning content. Having lower awareness of the foreign language learning strategies might lead to the more frequent use of the compensation strategies. What we also focused on is a relation between direct learning strategies and attitude to the subject, in our case, the Russian language. This table shows a little bit more on this issue. Based on the analysis, it's possible to indicate strong correlation between the attitude to the subject, Russian language, and direct strategies. Statistically important variance is revealed in case of memory-related strategies and compensation strategies. The cognitive strategies do not prove to be in a statistically important relation with the pupil's attitude to the subject. With reference to these statistical data and analysis, it is possible to state two partial conclusions. Firstly, positive attitudes to the Russian language might increase the usage of direct Russian language learning strategies. Secondly, pupils might be expected to make more conscious effort in case of memory-related foreign language learning and to overcome difficulties during foreign language conversations more easily. The last monitored relation that we focused within investigation is relation between direct learning strategies and attitudes of the pupils to the teacher. Do the pupils with negative attitudes to the teacher employ different foreign language learning strategies when compared to those who have positive attitudes to the teacher, or is there no correlation? Analysis of the data reveals a moderately strong correlation between pupils' attitudes towards the teacher and direct strategies as a whole. Looking at the direct strategies in more detail, significant differences are revealed for cognitive and memory-related strategies. No statistically significant relationship has been found for compensation strategies. The negative correlation indicates that more negative attitudes to the teacher increase probability of pupils resorting to compensation strategies. Within a few conclusive words, foreign language learning strategies represent one of the very crucial areas worthy of attention in everyday modern education. The empirical findings presented here and with more details in the paper show that pupils of secondary education in Czech Republic tend to use and be aware of compensation strategies, while the memory-related strategies appear to be on the decrease within the comparison. It needs to be highlighted that variables such as gender, teachers' awareness of strategies, pupils' attitudes to the teacher and to the subject may to some extent influence the choice of the foreign language learning strategies and also motivation and effectiveness of learning foreign language. That's why all mentioned issues appear to be very important also for discussion and for the content of teaching within teacher education and teacher training. Thank you for your attention, and let's hope to meet somewhere, sometime, face to face. Thank you.